Hello and welcome. My name is Joanna Kay with Screen Magazine, and today we are speaking with Besties Make Movies. And we have both besties here, Stacey Maltin and Margarita Zhitnikova, and we are speaking about their feature film, Triple Threat. It's part movie, part musical. It's a film about a relationship between three friends on the verge of their Broadway debut. Their friendship is put to the test when diverging dreams meet the realities of adulthood. Thank you so much, Stacey Maltin and Margarita Zhitnikova, for joining me today. And first, I just want to say thank you so much for creating this film. It's sexy, it's open, it's vulnerable, it's fun, it's raw. It's all the things, really. But before we really jump into your film Triple Threat, I want to know a little bit more about you two and how you found each other. How did this creative partnership form?
Thank you so much for the kind words of the film. That's really nice. We met originally in an improv class. Our love story really took off after we ate some Ethiopian food, realized that we shouldn't be competitors. We should work together to take over the world. And yeah, Mars, do you want to fill in?
Yeah, well, so I'd been in this class for a while, and then when Stacey got there and she was all like talented and cute, I was like, "Who is this? No, there's only room for one." And then, like Stacey said, we like ate a little bit, and it was like we were so on the same page, and it just, I think we both clicked. Like the messaging of there can only be one is external, and it's on us to like collaborate and make things.
You realize that there is room in this town for the both of you if you join forces and make art. I read that you started shooting and you didn't even have a shooting script. And if you see this film, that's like, what? That's terrifying. Can you speak to that and the process of how this film got created?
Yeah, so we were in the process of releasing and selling Landing Up, which is the first feature film that we made that I wrote and we both produced it. And we were very much in this like business heavy part of the process, which is awesome because we learned so much, but like it's not the most like creative part of it. And I had this idea like tinkling around in my head about a story about this guy who wants to have a kid, like a single man who wants to have a kid, and the women who help him do that don't necessarily want to have children or don't necessarily want to be a part of this child's life. And I was like, you know what? Like, let's just get people we love together in a room and sort of see what happens and like see what this idea is. I had basically those 2 days that we filmed are now like the first 10 minutes of the movie. We did like use that footage.
Wow.
It's very much a part of the film. But yeah, it really started out as we wanted to do something creative and to shoot something and get a feel for it. I kind of thought that maybe this would be, I don't know, I didn't know if it was going to be a short or if it was going to be, I feel like we didn't really know. And but having all these people who we love and trust who are like so talented actors and cinematographers, I was like, let's just have a good time. And getting everyone in a room after those 2 days, I was like, oh, I know what this is. I know what this wants to be. It's going to be a musical. Everyone get ready.
One of the really cool things about doing it that way without sort of having expectations is getting to like course correct as you go. Because like when we shot like Landing Up, for example, like that was shooting back to back to back to back, like not really time to review dailies too much and things like that. Whereas on Triple Threat, because we shot it in units and we shot these 2 days first, like then you could see like what's there and what's working and what you want to like expand upon. And I think that was a really cool part of this process that's unique to doing it this way as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you mentioned having a team that you trust. So can you talk about the importance of and maybe some advice for filmmakers on how to build that team?
Yeah, I mean, so much of it is like a vibe thing. It's like, but there's also we made several small projects together before we, started really like doing this on a bigger level. And I think that doing those shorts and web series really like solidified that we like to work in the same way, that where our different skill levels are and where we're all comfortable, like saying, okay, like I can do this, you can do this. Let's all like put everything we know how to do together and really be able to make something. Jay and I have known each other for like 18 years now. We've been making like theater and dance and weird shit for a very long time. Donnie, who's one of our DPs, is my partner in life, and he and I work together. Like and this has been like a long journey of us creating art together and having like that language between us. Yeah, and the other actors on set, especially those first 2 days, were for the most part like people that we had, like Michael, who plays Liam, who's the other one in the threesome with us. Like Mars knew him from their acting class, and he had done a few projects with us at that point too. So we all felt like really safe and, excited to bring him into the fold. And yeah, and then after that, everything just like took off. And advice is really like, yeah, like find your tribe and make small things together first before you jump into something as stressful as making a feature film. Because when you're on set of something that feels so big and there's like other money involved, and it feels like it's bigger than you, like having that language that you've already developed on other projects is going to be like really, really helpful.
That's amazing.
I think there's like 2 little things I'd like to add to that. Like one, Stacey and I are both part of a few different filmmaking collectives, like Film Shop. So we know like if we're hiring somebody from Film Shop, they're like vetted by our community of filmmakers. And then also NYC Women Filmmakers, which is great, which is more of a I think they're moving to be a nonprofit organization. Don't quote me on that. I'm not entirely sure. They started out as a Facebook group and they're amazing. But the other thing is that, there'd be times when people that we're used to working with weren't available, like to grip or swing or, for Stacey. And then it would be like, who does our crew trust? Who have they worked with before? That's part of their circle. And then we would try to like bring those people on to continue like that family feel and that like having the language together.
That's great. So, I mean, that's great advice, and interesting how you built your core group. And now as far as cast, and you touched on that a little bit. And we have Catherine Curtin in there, who is another amazing talent to add to the already existing amazing talent on your film. Can you speak to how she ended up being involved in this?
Yeah, so Catherine Curtin she was actually one of the leads in our Friends feature film, Gold Star, Victoria Negri. She's like another very talented filmmaker in New York. And I just love Catherine's work. I mean, I've seen her in so many things now, and I just like I love that she does both, large projects that are on HBO and Netflix, and she's like a prominent actress, but she's also very involved in the independent film work in New York, and she's very supportive of independent artists and of being a part of films like this. And so we were very excited to approach her to play Audrey, and we reached out to her and she responded to the role and to the script. And that was
one thing that's like super cool about her is when we went to the one of the Gold Star like premiere parties that they hosted, and Catherine was there, and Victoria introduced us, and she was like, this is, Stacey and Mars from Besties Make Movies. And Catherine looked at us kind of like she does in the film. She's like, I want to work with more female filmmakers, so you like contact me. And we didn't know like what to use her for like a long time, or what she would be interested in. So when this came around and Stacey was like, for Audrey, like I want someone with gravitas, like somebody like Catherine. And then we're like, wait a minute. So reaching out to her, we were like, she already said she wants to work with us. So like, this is it. This is the thing. And we were so grateful when she said yes. And she's been so incredible and supportive throughout the process.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. And another thing I loved about this film is it's a queer film, but it's not about the struggle with the identity. It normalizes pansexuality. It's just a part of the story. And that's something that you don't see often enough, where it's like, characters are queer, but it's not like, that's not the focus of the story. Like it's just life. Can you speak a little bit to creating that atmosphere?
Yeah, so that is something that is very important to me as a filmmaker to, like, I really wanted in this film to exactly that, have queer people be living their lives where they're there and we are there and represented, but not in a form of trauma, like not in a way where the queerness is questioned, not in a way where the characters are experiencing trauma based on their queerness, because this film is, it's set in the New York theater world. Like this is the world, like the film world, the theater world, the artistic world of the city. That's where we live. And this is, I'm not saying that nobody, obviously, like people do experience trauma in this world, but for me, it's like largely a celebration. And what I strive to do is to celebrate queerness, to celebrate queer stories, but I don't particularly want those stories to be filled with trauma. And I really want to normalize bisexuality and pansexuality. And that's also like a big theme in this script, that, that Gus and Liam can have this intimate scene together, but yet it's still acceptable that Gus and Chloe have a love connection, and that there's just nothing questioned or strange about that. That's something that's very important to me.
And I love that it's not like, hey, Liam, are you okay to like have a threesome with another guy? It's just like, people should be open, like who cares? And I love how the film captures that.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite things about the film. And I want to ask you, so you didn't just create a film, you created a show, a musical within a film. It felt, I'm not a musical person, but it tricked me into loving this as a musical, as if like as a Fosse film where like you're tricked into it and it just seamlessly like goes in and out. Can you speak to the struggles of basically creating two shows at once?
Yeah, so we at some point, once Jay came on board as a co-writer, which happened after like the first 2 days, and we started collaborating, and I asked him to come and co-write the script with me. When we were sitting down, we realized, oh, well, if we're telling the story of this musical, then it needs to serve to push the film story forward. But we need to see enough of it where it makes sense. And I guess we're gonna write a musical now, okay, right? Like, we did not set out to do that, but we realized like pretty quickly that that needed to be a part of the process. It was challenging. There's more of it written that didn't make it into, like, we actually shot even more of it that didn't make it into the final cut. But what you said makes me so happy, because I am such a musical theater nerd. I'm obsessed with musicals. I love them. And Mars is not a real like musical theater person. And something that we talked about a lot was how you how you responded to the script, because obviously like we didn't want to make a film just for people who love musicals. We wanted people to also enjoy it who would be fooled into liking it. So I love that you said that, because Mars, that's something that you like said so much in the process of this.
Yeah, I love that it was very important to us to like meet somewhere in the middle of it being like completely a musical theater film and then being like a film with a musical in it. Because I do think there's so many like important messages. There's my dog's hair is flying around. So many important messages that, if you go into this movie thinking like, oh, I'm going to watch a musical, like that could be a turnoff to people. Whereas like, this is a movie with a musical in it. Like, I just think it all opens up the audience and helps distribute the message of that.
Yeah, it pushes the music definitely serves to push the story of the film forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I never wanted characters to like sing dialogue to each other. That was never a part of it.
And I love the music is so good in the film.
Yeah, it's great. And the music, you can find some of it on iTunes and Spotify. So look out for that. And everybody should watch this movie. You can tell how much the blood, sweat, and tears went into this. It's incredibly passionate and fun and raw. And I highly recommend this film. How can people see it? Where is it going to be showing next?
We're doing festivals right now, which is really exciting. So we just had our world premiere at Cinequest, and now we're doing several queer film festivals. It's going to be at Outshine in Miami in a few days, like next week, April 24th to the 28th. It's going to be at the Pink Apple Film Festival in Europe, in Zurich, and that is going to be in May. And the Blackbird Film Festival, which is in upstate New York, that's going to be a live in-person event, which we're really excited about. That's going to be in June. What?
I think they're doing a hybrid, right, at Blackbird?
They're doing a hybrid, but Triple Threat is playing in person.
That's great. Finally, an event where it's not just going into a vacuum and you can actually feel the response from it. So exciting. Congratulations to you both. Thank you for creating this. And thank you for chatting with me today.
Thank you so much for having us.